got 3 episodes of Daredevil Born Again to get through. We're gonna try to be quick. Try to do this in 10 minutes. Let's do it. All right, the first one, episode 5. We've got the bank robbery scene with Mr. Khan as the assistant bank manager from Miss Marvel, and you got Matt there. He's kind of trying to keep his secret identity, but also kind of trying to help the situation. How'd you guys feel about this? This kind of people are saying it's more of a filler episode, but I think this does kind of help with the arc of Matt kind of accepting the role that he's like, hey, he's trying everything he can to not do this as Daredevil, but it's kind of by the end he puts that mask over his face. How do you guys feel about this? Him kind of jumping into Daredevil.
You nailed it. You nailed it, Cam. This episode was all about him putting a mask on. It obviously wasn't the Daredevil mask, but he got to a point where he was so feeling like he needed to be involved that he covered his face. That's what he's been fighting against the whole season, and it took this odd interaction, this odd day of his life to really kind of give him that push.
Yeah.
He's just desperate to beat people up. I mean, and we'll see this in the later episodes too. And it's just been clawing at him. God, this poor guy. But he straight up marched back in there knowing that it only could end with him beating somebody up. It doesn't track for him to legitimately think, yeah, I can talk the bank robbers out of this. That's from a purely emotional perspective, like that's totally not what he was going for. He went in there kind of knowing what was going to happen and just kind of waiting for it. He was waiting for a good excuse.
I love it. Yeah, I kind of love it.
Yeah, he said the line, after he opened the bank vault, and he's like, how did you do that? He's like, I'm a really good lawyer. Or what? No, do you say, what kind of lawyer are you? That's the classic.
I'm a really good lawyer.
Yeah,
really good lawyer.
I like that it was like St. Patty's Day. It was kind of playing up his Irish heritage as well.
And it came out like right near St. Patty's Day, so that was kind of funny.
Yeah. And they're kind of like, they figure out that he's Irish, obviously, and like kind of playing into that. So I thought that was interesting. And by the end, they use that jewel or whatever as leverage. But did you guys notice this? I caught this, that all the robbers were wearing a different color mask, but it was all the Infinity Stone colors, but except for orange. But the crystal was orange. So all of the Infinity Stone colors were the villains. That was kind of interesting. I don't know.
Probably means nothing, but
it means nothing.
I thought it was just a rainbow for St. Patrick's
maybe that
Day.
too.
That's how basic I thought it was.
On some point though, there's only so many colors.
True.
So guys, this means that Thanos is coming back in Daredevil.
They were the boss they were working for was Thanos, trying to get the Infinity Stones.
They did mention a boss. I hope that is
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think that's going to play into something later.
Yeah.
Honestly, because I watched all 3 episodes yesterday, and I think that was probably one of my favorite ones. I think for its own reasons. Just because, it was like a standalone episode in itself, but you just got to see like Sarah said, it's just Daredevil inside of Matt just clawing, trying to get out. Because he knows what's going to happen. But he knows like, okay, I'm the only one that can go into this bank and put a stop to what they're going to do. And not only put a stop to it, but I want to put a stop to it. Because I know
he's trying to like irk them too. He's trying to annoy them.
He wasn't being tactful at all. He was like, desperate.
Crazy. All right. So yeah, by the end, you got this. I thought the Mr. Khan thing was funny, but I think it's kind of interesting they chose him to be in this, I guess, just to have another Marvel cameo. It does
it's
feel
connected,
kind of like
Cam.
It's connected. Yeah. But he's talking about Kamala. She's in California. So this gets us into episode 6, I believe. Wait, I think we got a picture. Dang. This scene was insane. Matt finally suits up. This whole episode, I'm trying to remember, this whole episode kind of is building up to both Daredevil and Kingpin having to finally get back into it, basically, right? If I'm correct about saying that. It was pretty brutal. You've got, what was the beginning? Can you guys remember the beginning of this episode? Colin, you watched it yesterday.
Yeah, so because this is where it really starts to focus on Muse, because
yes.
Was it Hector's niece comes to see Matt?
Yes,
he's like,
that's
well, you're not doing anything, type of thing, and then that's what leads her over the episode to get caught, and then Matt to suit up and go find her.
Which they didn't explain how Matt found him, but they just like, oh, he's like in the next episode. He's like, I found Muse in one night. The cops can't find him. I found him in one night. I was like, dang, that's kind of cool.
She said like a one-liner of, "Oh, my uncle is investigating people going missing near this place." Yeah, and Matt just using his powers. I guess.
Okay. So it is kind of a one.
And he probably gets down into those subways and can listen and bounce all around his ears. Yeah. Like, okay, this way.
They don't show it as often like in the old show. In the old show, it's like everything's about his hearing. You know, he just stands on the rooftop and he can hear like people being abducted somehow.
He can stand a block away outside of a boardroom and hear what Elektra is saying to them.
Jacob's saying that one because that's the one thing that pissed me off the most. Like that was too much from outside, but it's fine. He's a superhero. Look at it.
I love how Kingpin has to like sit through the children singing or whatever the same song. Is that the same episode?
No, that was way before.
Okay, never mind.
No, this was Kingpin. Remember, he at the same time while Matt is fighting Muse, isn't Kingpin like?
He's beating up Adam.
He threw Adam the axe and was like, "I want a fair fight" or whatever, and it was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, I think that was episode 7.
That man does not deserve that. That is
birth. Yeah, that was crazy. But basically, everything they're doing, like they're trying to let the system work it out, and it's not working. You know, both of them, which is interesting. Like Kingpin's trying to be good. You know, it's not. You know, it's not working. It's not working out
so that's when he goes and gets like all those rogue cops, right, and gets them together, and he's like, "You're Hell's Kitchen's finest," you know, like
ridiculous.
Which is like straight from the comics, like that one guy North or whatever. You know, the vigilante task force to take out Daredevil, Muse. You know, so pretty cool. They're just pulling stuff from the comics. I like when they do that actually, even if it's obscure comics. I really like it. A lot of people haven't read Daredevil comics, but, you know. Let's jump into episode 7. So that fight was crazy with Muse at the end of episode 6. How'd you guys feel about the choreography in that? It's, like, insane. Matt, like, chokes him out, saves the girl.
Well, we were laughing. We
totally thought he was just going to dive into killing people again. Like, that was so where that was going.
I think Matt was going to kill Muse twice. He was going to kill him in that scene at the end of episode 6, and he was going to kill him at a pretty important point at the end of episode 7 too. And something intervened each time, but he was going through with it. I think, which is
at first I was like, why is Muse so good at fighting? This is stupid. I was like, what? He's just a kid. Like this makes no sense.
And then
like
Daredevil's 7 confirmed he did Taekwondo or whatever.
A Taekwondo master.
He's a black belt in Taekwondo. Yeah. That's kind of cool.
And he hated it.
You hated that?
No, he hated it.
He was like,
I hated my master.
He hated it, so he had to start killing people and using their blood for his art. I didn't really catch that. Like, why is he demented like that?
Yes, because he's a serial killer, Cam. He's demented.
Just regular, you know, they put it all on mental illness, of course, which, as somebody in that field, feels a little bit like, here we go again. But, you know, it's an easy one.
They should have had like a kind of a creepier reason for him being creepy. I don't know, you know? But it just seemed like, I'm just messed up. I have problems. So I'm going to use the blood.
The contrast between him versus what they did with Dex, Bullseye, in the original series was pretty striking, I think, because they both have a very similar kind of background where this whole idea of like their mental health is what's driving it. But obviously, like Bullseye was an entire season's worth of development and learning about kind of what drove him and his battle with actually trying to fix himself. We ended up talking about that for a long time after we watched this episode. So it was just interesting to see the opposite end of that, which was just like maybe 2 episodes that we really gave this guy and 1 fully to learn his backstory, where it was like, yeah, he's just straight up like sociopathic or whatever. And that's about all.
Which works for this kind of show, you know, if you're
they're kind of using him as a tool only. I thought he was going to be the main villain, but they're kind of using him as a plot device to get Matt and Kingpin to a certain point.
It was interesting, right? They had his girlfriend again was like another connection for Daredevil again, you know, having her be.
It is interesting. Everything's connected. Like both Muse and Kingpin were getting therapy through her, and Matt's dating her. It's like, what? Like, everything's a little too connected. Maybe I don't know, but Muse is dead, confirmed.
Or is he?
Kill him.
He got shot 5 times in the chest, and he's a regular dude. He's totally
when Matt
dead.
like used his baton to like stab him, I was
Yes.
like, "What is
That was
happening?"
intense.
And he dragged him and like made some art.
The blood on
He
the
made
ground.
the art. Daredevil did the art.
Oh man.
Well, there was a, I think it was the showrunner said something about how Muse was potentially going to be a multi-season arc, which so I read that article, but there's like 2 theories. It's one, he's actually dead and it's just going to create a bunch of copycats, or 2, he was lying and he's just trying to mess with people. He's just trying to throw people off. But no, I thought overall,
as if like he was the copycat.
no, they were gonna like what he was doing was going to create like a bunch of like copycat serial killers that were going to start doing like the same thing. Or the showrunner was just lying to people to make it look like he was the main
make
villain.
it a surprise.
Yeah. But yeah, Sarah, I really agree with what you were saying, because season 3 of Daredevil is probably my favorite season. Because Dex's whole arc is just so cool, just watching him develop and seeing like, okay, where he's at mentally. And with this, it's, I would say, they kind of just did like one therapy session of who he is and kind of why he ticks. And so it just felt a little rushed, but at the same time, I thought his look was really cool. His costume, what he was doing was super dark, super creepy. Like, I thought they nailed that aspect of it. So I just thought it was cool.
Jacob, nice cat. Yeah, I'm enjoying the show.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. I'm actually really enjoying it. It's just, it is a little bit, it's just not as detailed as like the older show. You know what I mean? Which is fine. They don't have as much episodes.
And dude, the older show is like an hour each episode.
Yeah.
Easy. And
yeah.
These are like 42 minutes,
Yeah.
So I'm honestly really enjoying it. I think they're doing pretty good for what they were handed. So
yeah. And then the cops take the credit for the murder of Muse, basically. And that was funny where he's like holds up the mask on television. It just felt it felt like something that would actually happen. I don't know why, but I just felt
no, for real. The cops being like, because they stand there and they take pictures with like bricks of coke and things like that in real life.
Yeah.
They love doing that. So
yeah,
just like pounds of weed. They're just like.
Kingpin in that scene is so funny. He's just like sitting there. He has the most awkward smile ever in front of the camera. He hates it.
Yeah. And then how did this episode end? I can't remember. That was kind of the ending, right?
The girlfriend was like, "Hey, Daredevil said my name," and it's like, he was not very smart on that one.
Crazy.
She's about to find out. I guarantee.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting. I didn't realize this, but if you watch the old Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck, he's on the phone at the beginning of the movie, and he gets broken up with by this same character from the comics, this girl. I didn't even realize that she's like from the comics. She's like, "You're so distant. Like, we need to just be done." That's like the very beginning of the movie. So, interesting.
I think I have a little bit more respect for it than I was. The running joke is always like Matt's got so much game and it's stupid. Even God, he was talking to that Latvian chick and he had game. That was too much. Anyway, but I just kind of felt kind of put off by that, especially with the whole Karen thing. I have my own opinions on that from the original season anyway.
It's okay. You can say you don't like Karen. This is a safe space.
I don't not like Karen, but she got to be a bit.
Well, she's not in it, so you get your
I think, that's fair. But Foggy's dead, so that's obviously.
Whoa!
sad.
Spoilers.
But
whoa.
I think it's Dr. Glenn. I think that just makes it a lot better for me knowing that, like, oh, she's based in the comics. They didn't just grab somebody and we're desperate for a love interest from her, So
sweet. So, Daredevil, I'm excited. How many more episodes we got? 2 more? Is it 9 episodes?
Yeah, 2 more.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's go. That's exciting, guys.
And then we'll jump head first into Andor. So
yes,
it's like the week after.
That's gonna be fun to break down, guys, together.